ओम ज्ञानतिमृन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिके। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25. Do let me know if you see the screen. Is my voice audible enough?
Yeah,
Yeah?
we can.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And you are all able to see the screen also, right? Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Let's begin. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 25. The Glories of Devotional Service. Saunaka Kapilastatva Samkhyata Bhagavan Atmamayaya Jataha Swayam Ajah Sakshad Atma Pragnaptaye Pranam. Saunaka said, although he is unborn, the Supreme Personality of Godhead took birth as Kapila Muni by his internal potency. He descended to disseminate transcendental knowledge for the benefit of the whole human race. Nahyasya varshmanah pumsam varimnah sarvayoginam vishrutau shrutadevasya bhuritapyanti me shavaha. Saunaka continued, there is no one who knows more than the Lord himself. No one is more worshipable or more mature a yogi than he. He is therefore the master of the Vedas, and to hear about him always is the actual pleasure of the senses. Yad yad viddate bhagavan swachandatmanatma mayaya tani me shraddhadanasya kirtanyani anukirtaya. Therefore, please precisely describe all the activities and the pastimes of the personality of Godhead who is full of self-desire and who assumes all these activities by his internal potency. Suta uvacha वैपायन सकत्वे एवं मैत्रेयो भगवांस्तथा प्राहेदं विधुरं प्रीत अन्वीक्षिक्यां प्रचोदितः. Sri Suta Goswami said the most powerful sage Maitreya was a friend of Vyasadeva. Being encouraged and pleased by Vidura's inquiry about transcendental knowledge, Maitreya spoke as follows. Maitreya vacha pitari prastiteeranyam matah priya chikirshaya tasmin bandhusare vastid Bhagavan Kapila kila. Maitreya said when Kardama left for the forest, Lord Kapila stayed on the strand of Bindu Sarovara to please his mother Devahuti. Tamasinam Tamasinam Akarmanam Tattvamargagra Darshanam Swasutam Devahuti Aha Dhatuhu Samsmarati Vacha. When Kapila, who could show her the ultimate goal of the absolute truth, was sitting leisurely before her, Devahuti remembered the words of Brahma had spoken to her, and she therefore began to question Kapila as follows. देवहूतिरुवाच निर्विण्णान् नितरां भूमन् असद् इन्द्रियतर्षणात् येन सम्भाव्यमानेन प्रपन्नान्दं तमः प्रभो. Devahuti said, I am very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses, for because of this sense disturbance, my Lord, I have fallen into the abyss of ignorance. Tasyatvam tamosondasya dushparasyadhyaparagam satchakshurjanmanam ante labdham me tvam anugrahat. Your Lordship is my only means of getting out of this darkest region of ignorance, because you are my transcendental I, which by your mercy only I have attained after many, many births. या आद्यो भगवान् पुंसाम् ईश्वरो वै भवान् किल लोकस्य तमसां दस्य चक्षुः सूर्य इवोदितः. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin and the Supreme Lord of all living entities. You have arisen to disseminate the rays of the sun in order to dissipate the darkness of ignorance of the universe. अथ मे देवं सम्मोहम् अपाक्रष्टुं त्वम् अर्हसि योऽवग्रहोऽहं ममेति एतस्मिन् योजितस्त्वया. Now be pleased, my Lord, to dispel my great delusion. Due to my feeling of false ego, I have been engaged by your Maya and have identified myself with the body and consequently bodily reactions. तं त्वां गतां शरणं शरण्यं स्वभृत्या संसारतरोः पुतारं जिज्ञासयां प्रकृते पुरुषस्य नमामि सद्धर्मविदां वरिष्ठम्. Devavati continued, I have taken shelter of your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom to take shelter. You are the axe which can cut the tree of material existence. I therefore offer my obeisances unto you, who are the greatest of all transcendentalists, and I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman and between the spirit and matter. मैत्रेय उवाच इति स्वमातुर्निरवध्यम् ईप्सितं निशम्य पुंसाम् अपवर्गवर्धनम् धियाभिनन्द्यात्मवतां सतां गतिर्बभाष ईषत् स्मित शोभिताननः. Maitreya said, after hearing of his mother's uncontaminated desire for transcendental realization, the Lord thanked her within himself for her questions, and thus, his face smiling, he explained the path of transcendentalists who are interested in self-realization. Shri Bhagavan Yoga Adhyatmikah Pumsam Mato Nishreya Saya Me Atyanto Atyanto Paratir Yatra Dukkhasya Cha Sukhasya Cha. The personality of God had answered. The yoga system, which relates to the Lord and the individual soul, which is meant for the ultimate benefit of living entity, and which causes detachment from all happiness and distress in the material world, is the highest yoga system. Tamimam te pravakshyami yamavocham puranagaye ऋषीणां श्रोतुकामानां yogam sarvanga naipunam. O most pious mother, I shall now explain unto you the ancient yoga system which I explained formerly to the greatest sages. It is serviceable and practical in every way. Chetah khalvasya bandhaya muktaye chatmano matam guneshu saktam bandhaya ratham va pumsi muktaye. The stage in which the consciousness of the living entity is attracted by the three modes of material nature is called conditional life. But when that same consciousness is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is situated in the consciousness of liberation. Aham mama bhimanottaihi kamalobhadibirmalaihi vitam yada manah shuddham adukham asukham samam. When one is completely cleansed of the impurities of lust and greed produced from the false identification of the body as I and bodily possessions as mine, one's mind becomes purified. In that pure state, he transcends the stage of so-called material happiness and distress. Tada purusha atmanam kevalam prakrite param nirantaram swayam jyotir animanam akhanditam. At that time, the soul can see himself to be transcendental to the material existence and always self-effulgent, never fragmented, although very minute in size. Jnana vairagya yuktena bhakti yuktena chatmana परिपश्यति उदासीनं prakritim cha hato jasam. In that position of self-realization, by practice of knowledge and renunciation in devotional service, one sees everything in the right perspective. He becomes indifferent to material existence, and the material influence acts less powerfully upon him. न युज्यमानायां भक्त्या भगवति अखिलात्मनि सदृशोऽस्ति शिवः पन्तां योगिनां ब्रह्मसिद्धये. Perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for that is the only auspicious path. Prasangam ajaram pasham atmanah kavayo viduho sa eva sadhushu krito mokshadvaram apavrutam. Every learned man knows very well that every learned man knows very well that attachment for the material is the greatest entanglement of the spirit soul. But that same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opens the door of liberation. Titikshasva karunika suhrada sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shanta sadhava sadhu bhushanaha. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies. He is peaceful. He abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. मयनन्येन भावेन भक्तिं कुर्वन्ति ये दृढां मत्कृते त्यक्तकर्माणः त्यक्तस्वजनः बान्धवाः. Such a sadhu engages in staunch devotional service to the Lord without deviation. For the sake of the Lord, he renounces all other connections, such as family relations and friendly acquaintance within the world. मदाश्रया कथा मृष्टाः शृण्वन्ति कथयन्ति च तपन्ति विविधास्तापा नैतां मद्गतचेतसा. Engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my pastimes and activities. तयेते साधव साध्वी सर्वसंग विवर्जिताः संगस्तेष्वथ ते प्रार्थ्यः संगदोषो हराहिते. O my mother, O virtuous lady, these are the qualities of great devotees who are free from all attachment. You must seek attachment to such holy men, for this counteracts the pernicious effects of material attachment. Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you. So here we can see that we get into the teachings. The Lord, of course, there are wonderful pastimes so that we can be mesmerized, we can be enchanted, we can be enlightened, and we can be able to enliven our journey back home, back to Godhead. For that, Lord appears, and here we can see in this chapter we can see the glories of devotional service is so nicely highlighted. Sometimes people may think that Sankhya philosophy means empirical studies and may not be so much related to Bhakti Yoga. Sankhya Yoga sounds something different. No, actually, the crux of Sankhya Yoga is to analytically understand Bhakti Yoga. Of course, Bhakti Yoga, to practice Bhakti, one may not or need not understand why one is doing or why, but important is how to do it, what to do, how to do, and when to do. These are the things. Why, yeah, when our intelligence is matured, when the Lord blesses us, then when may also dwell into why, so that he can become a preacher. So Saunaka Vacha Kapila Tattva Sankhyatam. So here Saunaka is saying, although the Lord is unborn, but he took birth as Kapila Muni. Very specially, of course, because the last chapter we read that he in fact appeared through the semen of Kardama Muni, right? So here he descended to disseminate transcendental knowledge for the benefit of the whole human race. In the mode of good, and Prabhupada purports in the first purport writes, in the mode of goodness, one's knowledge expands. This means One wants to know more. Yeah, we may think, is it the condition of passion? No, we can say that in the mode of goodness, one's knowledge expands. But what kind of knowledge defines? If it is about material nature, then matter and etc., how to lead a very materialistic life, then it's passion. On the platform of passion, there is no knowledge. For passion is simply an impetus to enjoy material benefits. On the platform of ignorance, there is no knowledge, no enjoyment, but simply life almost like that of animals. Sometimes we may see, hey, the animals are coming together, they're enjoying together, and then they go away, and then, yeah, we may see how it's based on instincts, and okay, life is like that. So the Vedas are meant to elevate one from the mode of ignorance to the platform of goodness. When one is situated in the mode of goodness, he is able to understand knowledge of self. And going further, simply to understand that one is not matter, but spirit soul, aham brahmasmi, I am by nature Brahman, is not sufficient knowledge for understanding the self and his activities. This is basics. One must be situated in the activities of Brahman. Knowledge of those activities is explained by the Lord himself in the form of Kapila Muni. Human life is regulated life, not animalistic life. In regulated life, only can one understand transcendental knowledge. And going further, no one is more worshipable or more mature a yogi than the Lord himself. He is therefore the master of the Vedas, and to hear about him always is the actual pleasure of senses. Eko Bahunam Yo Vidadati Kaman means he is a supreme living entity. So we may see Purushottama. Purusha means one who is enjoyer. Purushottama is the one who is supreme enjoyer. Uh, yeah, in fact, we can see a Eko, one, Bahuna, many, among men, there is one, Yo Vidadati Kaman. He is a supreme living entity and supplying the necessities of all other living entities. Thus, all other living entities, both Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva, are subordinate to the Supreme Lord. The same concept is confirmed here. Na hi asya varshmanaha pumsam. Amongst the living entities, no one can surpass the Supreme Person because no one is richer, more famous, stronger, more beautiful, wiser, or more renounced than him. So whatever he instructs is from the transcendental platform. His instructions being absolute are non-different from him. Hearing from Krishna or his expansions on plenary expansions like Kapila is very pleasing to the senses. And in fact, in the second purport itself, Prabhupada highlights, we find that transcendental happiness in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The more we hear and chant the glories of the Lord, the more we become happy. Yad yad vidhatte, yad vidatte Bhagavan Swachandatma Mayaya. So here is Swachanda means you may have a Swachanda Samstha means fully independent or full of self-desire. Swachanda Atma Maya by eternal. So therefore please precisely describe all activities and pastimes of the Lord. So this is what Saunaka Rishi is asking Suta Goswami because it's so important. And the word Anukirtaya is very significant. Anukirtaya means to follow the description, not to create a concocted mental description, but to follow. Saunaka Rishi requested Suta Goswami to describe what he had actually heard from his spiritual master Sukadeva Goswami. So this pantha, this parampara is very, very important. We don't want to hear cock and bull stories that one may create in the name of, maybe they may call a folk story or folk tale or whatever. They just do some cocktails and mess up the whole purpose of the Vedic teachings, yeah, where this is coming from a proper lineage. Suta Goswami said the most powerful sage Maitreya was a friend of Vyasadeva. Being encouraged and pleased by Vidura's inquiry, now Maitreya is speaking. In that again, Prabhupada writes, questions and answers are very satisfactorily dealt with when the inquirer is bona fide and speaker is also authorized. So what are the two qualifications? The inquirer is bona fide. Very interesting. Na? Usually we hear bona fide spiritual master, but what is this bona fide inquirer means? One who has the right attitude of asking questions is, what is the right attitude? for one's own self-development, for one's own self-enlightenment, realization. That should be the focus. And to whom to ask? The speaker should be authorized, not to anyone, yeah, whoever has had nice, what do you call this? TikTok followers or Instagram followers, or no, it's not that. Of course, yeah, nowadays we can see so many have attained thousands or millions of likes or subscribers. What does that mean? Yeah, if someone is writing a cookbook, what do you call, not cookbook, what is it? Recipe, and then yeah, people are, yeah, this shows how much we are conditioned to always want to eat something, and that's why there are people who can really make out of it. So that's not what we are talking. We need to find a right authorized person. Who is authorized person is one who is coming in the disciplic succession. Here, Maitreya is considered a powerful sage, and therefore he is also described as Bhagavan. In fact, Bhagavan, you may have seen. I mean, I don't know references, but if you see this Ramananda Sagar Ramayana, then usually when Ramji visits any sadhus or saintly people's hermitage, then he addresses sometimes, hey, Bhagavan. So to say, hey, they are not ordinary. This word can be used not only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but for anyone who is almost as powerful as the Supreme Lord. Maitreya is addressed as Bhagavan because he was spiritually far advanced. He was a personal friend of Vyasadeva, who is literary incarnation of the Lord. So Maitreya was very pleased with the inquiries of Vidura, and he starts speaking. So Maitreya, when Kardamamuni left for the forest, Kapila stayed at home on the strand of Bindu Sarovar to please his mother. What is this pleasing mother is? In the absence of the father, it is a duty of a grown-up son or of a grown son to take charge of his mother and serve her to the best of his ability so that she will not feel separation from her husband. And it is the duty of the husband to leave home as soon as there is a grown son to take charge of his wife and their family affairs. Family affairs and the wife may be taken charge of by a grown-up son. I mean, this is the essence from that. So now Kapila Muni, when he was there, then Devahuti comes and she is saying, I'm very sick of the disturbance caused by my material senses. Because of this sense disturbance, I have fallen into ignorance. Prabhupada writes in the purport, unless one becomes tired of material sense gratification, there is no opportunity to hear transcendental message from a person like Kapila. Devahuti expressed that she was tired. We may continue to enjoy the matter because that's what we had so many hopes. That is the what is even giving us happiness. That's what is making us fearlessness. It is not Bhagavatam that is giving us abhayam. It is not that Bhagavatam that is giving us this, what do you call this? Vaikuntha a sense of, oh, that there is mm, no anxiety. No, we are depending on the material energy for all these things. But unless one becomes tired, we tried, and there are people who have tried, and finally they give up and they come to shelter. Oh, Bhagavan, you are the only one. First, usually people are very atheistic, unless one is having a bag, what do you call this? Blessings from his past life, past all. Usually he is very atheistic because he thinks or she thinks that, hey, why to have accept God? After all, did God produce me? No, my parents produced. So I am a product of my parents. So who are great? Maybe it is. Yeah, if you read what is this called, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where Gopakumar is going from one person to another person to understand who is the Supreme. We may have our own concocted understanding, and we may think, Lord, no, I think the food is given by whom? It is given by the parents, or maybe I'm now grown up that I can arrange my own food. So unless one becomes tired of all these things, oh, yeah, I had so many plans, and these plans didn't work. It is only the plan of the Lord which is actually working, and of course, He has a plan for my best good. So then we take to it. Devahuti expressed that she was tired. Now that her husband had left home, she wanted to get relief by hearing the instructions of Kapila Muni. Tasyatvam tamaso andhasya dushpara syadya Paragam Sachakshur Janmanam Ante Labdham Me Tvad Anugrahat. So she's begging for his mercy. Why? Because your lordship is my only means of getting out of this darkest region of ignorance, because you are the my transcendental eye, which by your mercy only I have attained after many, many births. Mm, Paragam is nice word here. Paragam refers to one who can take the disciple to the other side. We know this para uh, is mm, beyond, taking something beyond. This side is conditional life, the other side is life of freedom. The spiritual master takes the disciple to the other side by opening his eyes with knowledge. We are suffering simply because of ignorance. By the instruction of the spiritual master, the darkness of ignorance is removed, and thus the disciple is enabled to go to the side of freedom. It is said in Bhagavad Gita that after many, many births, one surrenders to the Supreme Lord. So here the importance of it's a bona fide representative of Krishna, who is none other than spiritual master. One should surrender. One can be taken to the side of light. How much time I have here? So, and Devahuti is saying, yeah, you are the origin and the supreme lord of all living entities. You have arisen to disseminate the rays of sun in order to dissipate the darkness of ignorance of the universe. So, Prabhupada writes, we have our eyes, but without the light of sun, our eyes are of no value. Similarly, without the light of the Supreme Lord or without the divine grace of the spiritual master, one cannot see things as they are. Ah, so that is our condition. But if we are puffed up, we become blind, thinking that the world is blind. Our world has nothing. Everything is only I have the light. Now, please, now be pleased, my Lord, to dispel my great delusion due to my feeling of false ego. I have been engaged by your Maya and have identified myself with the body and consequent bodily relationship. So Devahuti, Mother Devahuti, she is saying, "Oh, I am in delusion. So please enlighten me." Prabhupada writes in the purport, number 10. Devahuti has stated that false identification of the body with the self and attachment for possessions in relation to the body are also under the direction of the Lord. Does this mean that the Lord discriminates by engaging one in devotional service and another in sense gratification? If that were true, it would be an incongruity of on the part of the Supreme Lord. But that's not the fact. As soon as the living entity forgets his real constitutional position of eternal service to the Lord and wants instead to enjoy himself by sense gratification, he is captured by Maya. This capture by Maya is the consciousness of false identification. These are the activities of Maya. And since Maya is also an agent of the Lord, it is indirectly the action of the Lord. But the Lord is merciful. If anyone wants to forget him and enjoy this material world, he gives him full facility, not directly but through the agency of his material potency. Therefore, since the material potency is the Lord's energy indirectly, it is Lord who gives the facility to forget him. Devahuti therefore said, my engagement in sense gratification was also due to you. Now kindly get me free from this entanglement. So that is the importance of mm, all powerful Lord. Now Devahuti requested Kardama to free her from the entanglement of false identification and false possession. And she continued saying, I have taken shelter at your lotus feet because you are the only person of whom to take shelter. The analogy is very important. Let's try to remember this. Uh, Devahuti is saying, Mother Devahuti, she is saying that the Lord, you are like an axe which can cut the tree of material existence. I therefore offer my obeisances unto you. You are the greatest of all transcendentalists, and I inquire from you as to the relationship between man and woman and between the spirit and matter. In fact, we say Sankhya philosophy, as is well known, deals with Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is the Lord or anyone who imitates the Supreme Personality of Godhead as an enjoyer, and Prakriti means nature. In the material world, material nature is being exploited by Purusha. The intricate, anyway, we go in little details, but the example given here is it is recommended there that one has to cut the root of this material existential tree with the acts of detachment. What is attachment? Attachment involves Prakriti and Purusha. So Devahuti is asking, please make me elevate so that I can practice detachment. And then Maitra is saying, after hearing all this, then Kapila Muni, he explained the path of transcendentalists who are interested in self-realization. Uh, Satam Prasangat. Sat means that which eternally exists. This is very nice um, verse that is going to come. The Lord is saying, Yoga Adhyatmika Pumsam Mato Nishreyayasa Ya Me Atyantoparatir Yatra Dukhasya Cha Sukhasya Cha. So from verse number 13 till 24 or even more, we can see what is actually devotional service is building. The best yoga as taught in Bhagavad Gita by Krishna is Bhakti Yoga. It is also mentioned in Gita that one should try to be tolerant and not be disturbed by material happiness or distress. Of course, one may say that he is not disturbed by material happiness, but he does not know that just after one enjoys so-called material happiness, material distress will follow. This is the law of material nature. Hmm. So, further, he is saying, I shall now explain unto you the ancient yoga system which I explained formerly to the great sages. It is serviceable and practical in every way. So, one may come up with this question, is this Bhagavatam, is this Bhagavad Gita, is this yoga? All these are relevant or not? Now, the Lord does not manufacture a new yoga system because now we are in the 21st century. Sometimes it is claimed that someone has become an incarnation of God and is expounding a new theological aspect. But here we find that although Kapila Muni is the Lord and is capable of manufacturing new doctrine, he is just repeating what was already given. He nevertheless says, I shall just explain the ancient system which I once explained to the great sages because they were also anxious to hear about it. When we have a super excellent process already present in the Vedic scripture, there is no need to concoct a new system to mislead the innocent public. So this is what is important point to be remembered. The stage in which the consciousness of living entities attracted by the three modes of material nature is conditional life. So what is conditional life? One who is affected by the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. But when the same consciousness is attached to the Lord, then he is in that liberation. Hmm. And aham mamabhimanotyai. So one who thinks that when one is completely cleansed of the impurities of lust and greed, produced by the false ego, one's mind becomes purified. In that pure state, so mind is very important, and mind to be purified is even more important. That becomes our friend to advance in our path of spiritual realization. Tada Purusha Atmanam Kevalam Prakrite Param. At that time, the soul can see himself to be transcendental to material existence and always self-effulgent, never fragmented, although very minute in size. Then we come to the last part of this. In that position of self-realization by practice of knowledge and renunciation in devotional service, one sees everything in the right perspective. He becomes indifferent to material existence and the material influence acts less powerfully upon him. What does that mean? One who becomes devotee, though they are present in the material world, though they may have a backlog of whatever karma and its results, whatever to happen, but the material influence acts less powerfully upon him. So that is a very, very good news because we want a simple, easy-going bhakti process, yeah, so that we can advance. And this is the key when we become mm, uh, understand the self-realization, then the material influence is not so much. So renunciation in devotional service is very important. Perfection in self-realization cannot be attained by any kind of yogi unless he engaged in devotional service. Whatever yoga we may take, is it karma yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, sankhya yoga, buddhi yoga, all whatever name we may call bhakti yoga, which is ultimate, is means to connect unless he engages in devotional service. So that is the only auspicious path. In this purport, there are nice facts. What is Brahma Siddhi? The word Brahma Siddhi means to understand oneself to be different from matter, to understand oneself to be Brahman. So Brahma Siddhi means that one should know that he is not matter, he is pure soul. And the whole, I mean, there is Brahma Jyoti, Brahma Siddhi, and all other. Uh, to understand, one may read 19th verse. And then from 20 to 20, at least three are nice verses. Prasangam, Ajasram, Pasham. Sangam means what? Association or attachment. Prasangam, Ajaram, strong. Jaram means that it dwindles or, gets old. Ajaram means strong. Pasham is entanglement. Hmm. Atmanaha, Kavayo, Viduhu. Learned man, Kavi is intelligent man or learned man. Sa eva sadhushu kruto moksha dwaram apavritam. What opens is every learned man knows very well that the attachment for material is great entanglement to spiritual soul. But the same attachment, when applied to the self-realized devotees, opens the door to liberation. Yeah, Yukta Vairagyam Uchati means to engage whatever we have. Lavam, Prabhupada writes, purport. Lord Chaitanya also confirmed that Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Simply by a moment's association with Sadhu, life changes. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Mukte Vimuktes Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam means rendering service to the materialist has the opposite effect. We may think, no, 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 let us think everyone equal, we should help everyone, whether we should not discriminate. But what is the effect of that is, if anyone offers service to gross materialist or a person engaged only in sense enjoyment, then by association with such person, the door to hell opens. Oh, discouraging. No, it's not fanatism. It's not sentimental. It's not, dogmatism. No, this is reality. That one should be careful with his association. And titikshasva, what happens? With whom should we associate? With that sadhu. What kind of sadhu? One who is tolerant, one who is merciful, one who is friendly, one who is friendly to all the living entities, yeah, and one who is inimical, not uh, having enemies, to none. Shanta, peaceful, sadhava, ability, abiding by scriptures. These are the six qualities which are like ornaments, and please refer to the purport 21, which gives each of these qualities. And this is one of the very quoted verses of Bhakti-bhushan Maharaj and other great Swamis in our parampara. मयि अनन्येन भावेन भक्तिं कुर्वन्ति ये दृढं. Such a sadhu engages in staunch devotional service. Dridam kurvanti, bhakti kurvanti. He is practicing or performing that with great determination. For the sake of the Lord, he renounces all other connections such as family relations and friendly acquaintance within the world. We may think, hey, sadhu, prasanga, oh, it's nice, oh, but I can't free, I mean, can't. I can't disassociate with my friends, my parents, my brothers, my sisters, my community, and all these things. Yeah, but no, a staunch devotee gives up all of that, and for the sake of the Lord, he renounces everything. It is not that what will I get; it's like what the Lord will get when we serve Him with whole heart. And Madashraya Katha Vashtha, engaged constantly in chanting and hearing about me, about Supreme Lord. The sadhus do not suffer from material miseries because they are always filled with thoughts of my past times and activities. Did I cover 24? Tayete Sadhava Sadhu. Yeah, I think this is the last one. And anyway, we have to cover this tomorrow. I'll stop here. It's getting a little longer. Thank you very much for your time. If anyone have quick feedback, questions, yeah, let me know. Otherwise, we can close.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thanks for taking your time, Prabhuji. I know it's 12:30 in India, but thanks for this wonderful chapter, Prabhuji. I think it was quite packed and dense. Lot of interesting things, Prabhuji. Few notable things for me was generally we say bona fide spiritual master, but I think here you mentioned bona fide listeners. So I think the mood of the listeners, that was nice, and also unfiltered as it is. Explanation of knowledge is important. For example, this ancient yoga that you mentioned. So that was also nice. And also one thing that was nice is like I think the four regulative principles. A lot of things are picked from this chapter, Prabhuji, because I kind of said
Will come.
it'll
Few
come.
more will
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. Because I kind of read through it, and it is very nice that
come
how.
from this as well as it comes from the first canto, where the description of Kali entering and Kali Yuga entering, when the bull and cow. So
Yes,
in that context, yeah, if you remember Kadamkana Maharaj in his last message
yes,
that he
Prabhuji.
made, yeah, he refers those four regulative principles come from there.
Yes,
But
Prabhuji.
of course, Bhakti Yoga teachings, so we can get it from Kapila Muni.
Yes, Prabhuji. So it was very nice to see that what our acharyas and Guru Maharaj from today say is very much reflecting. I think this kind of
Yes.
systematic reading is very important because I was also wondering from where did Prabhupada take this four regular principles, but I think it all comes from Bhagavatam. So thank you for
Yeah.
this.
Nice.
Hare Krishna.
Nice observation. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Tomorrow, I don't know. I have to check if I'm flying during this time. Let me check and come back. If I am able to give a class, I have to check that first tomorrow. Yep. Otherwise, we can have class on the Friday. Anyway, thank you so much. Panchakalpatarubyascha kripasindhubhyo vachapadutanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo Vandana Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.